December 28, 1992, Kensington Palace, 2:17 a.m. Princess Diana sat at her mahogany desk, writing the final entry in what would become known as the Destruction Files, 5 years of meticulously collected evidence against Prince Charles. Tomorrow, their separation would be announced, but Diana's real plan was just beginning. For 5 years, she had been gathering ammunition for the ultimate revenge, not just ending her marriage, but ending Charles's claim to the throne forever. What she revealed in 1995 would destroy more than a marriage, it would shatter the monarchy itself. But the most shocking part wasn't the evidence Diana collected. It was how she had been secretly recording Charles for 5 years, and what those tapes contained would make even the Queen beg for mercy. January 3, 1988, Highgrove Estate, Charles's study, 11:45 p.m. The marriage had been failing for 3 years, but that night, Diana discovered something that changed everything. She had gone to Charles's study looking for a book when she found the desk drawer slightly open. Inside were love letters, dozens of them, all addressed to Camilla Parker Bowles. But it wasn't just the letters that devastated Diana. It was the dates. They went back to 1986, 1985, all the way back to before their wedding. Every "I love you" Charles had ever said to Diana had been a lie. That night, as Diana sat reading Charles's passionate declarations to another woman, something cold and calculating was born inside her. She wasn't going to be the naive princess who suffered in silence anymore. She was going to destroy him. "Victoria," Diana called to her private secretary the next morning. "I need you to purchase something for me, discreetly." "Of course, ma'am. What do you need?" "Recording equipment, the most sophisticated kind available, and I need you to find me the best private investigator in London." Victoria Mendham looked concerned. "Ma'am, may I ask why?" Diana's voice was ice cold. "Because I'm going to document every lie, every betrayal, every moment of hypocrisy, and when I'm finished, Charles will wish he had never been born." What Diana didn't know was that her 5-year revenge plan would not only destroy Charles, but would inadvertently save the monarchy by forcing it to evolve or die. February 1988, the recording begins. Diana's first purchase was a state-of-the-art recording system, disguised as a jewelry box that sat on her dresser. Every conversation Charles had in their shared rooms at Kensington Palace was now being documented. The second purchase was more complex. She hired Marcus Thornfield, a former MI6 agent turned private investigator, to follow Charles and document his every movement. "I want to know where he goes, who he sees, what he says, and what he does," Diana told Thornfield during their first meeting. "Every phone call, every meeting, every moment he spends with that woman." "Your Royal Highness, this level of surveillance is quite extensive. It will take years to build a comprehensive case." "Good," Diana replied. "I have time. And when I'm finished, I want enough evidence to bury him so deep that no crown in the world will save him." March 1988, the first major discovery. Within weeks, Thornfield brought Diana information that shocked even her. Charles wasn't just having an affair with Camilla. He was conducting royal business through her. "Ma'am, your husband has been discussing state matters with Mrs. Parker Bowles. Confidential information about government meetings, private conversations with the Queen, even security briefings." Diana felt her pulse quicken. This wasn't just adultery. This was potentially treason. "Do you have proof?" Thornfield placed a thick folder on Diana's desk. Photographs, phone records, and most importantly, audio recordings of Charles discussing classified royal business with Mrs. Parker Bowles at her home. Diana opened the folder and saw photos of Charles leaving Camilla's house at dawn, phone records showing daily calls, and transcripts of conversations where Charles revealed private royal family discussions. "Marcus," Diana said quietly, "this is exactly what I needed. Continue the surveillance. I want everything." This is where Diana's plan took a darker turn, because what she discovered about Charles and Camilla's secret meetings would expose a conspiracy that went to the very heart of the British government. June 1989, the government connection. 18 months into her surveillance operation, Diana uncovered something that transformed her personal revenge into a matter of national security. Charles wasn't just sharing royal secrets with Camilla. Camilla was sharing them with others. "Ma'am," Thornfield reported during one of their monthly meetings, "Mrs. Parker Bowles has been in regular contact with several high-ranking Conservative Party officials. She appears to be passing along information from her conversations with Prince Charles." Diana stared at the photographs. Camilla meeting with government ministers. Camilla having lunch with newspaper editors. Camilla in animated conversation with foreign diplomats. Are you telling me that Camilla Parker Bowles is running an information network using my husband's pillow talk? That appears to be the case, ma'am. Your husband tells her royal family business, she selectively shares it with political allies, and they use it for their own advantage. Diana realized she had stumbled onto something much bigger than a simple affair. This was a shadow network of influence and information, with Charles as the unwitting source and Camilla as the broker. I want names, dates, and proof of every single transaction, Diana ordered. This isn't just about destroying Charles anymore. This is about exposing a corruption network that's been using the royal family. September 1990, the royal finance scandal. 2.5 years into her investigation, Diana discovered the most damaging evidence yet. Charles had been using royal funds to support Camilla's lifestyle, and Camilla had been using her access to Charles to secure business advantages for her friends. The evidence was staggering. £250,000 in household expenses that had actually gone to renovating Camilla's properties, royal invitations extended to Camilla's business associates, giving them access to valuable networking opportunities, advanced information about royal property sales being passed to Camilla's investment circle. "Ma'am," Thornfield said, presenting Diana with bank records and property documents, "this constitutes fraud on a massive scale. Prince Charles has essentially been embezzling royal funds to support his mistress's business network." Diana studied the documents with growing amazement. How much money are we talking about? Over the past 5 years? Approximately £2.3 million in misappropriated royal funds, plus an estimated £10 million in business advantages gained through insider information. Diana leaned back in her chair. Charles hadn't just been unfaithful, he had been criminal. November 1991, the international implications. 3 years into her revenge plan, Diana uncovered the most explosive evidence yet. Charles and Camilla's information network had international connections. "Ma'am, you need to see this," Thornfield said, his voice more serious than Diana had ever heard it. "Mrs. Parker Bowles has been in regular contact with foreign intelligence services." Diana looked at the photographs and documents spread across her desk. Camilla meeting with known intelligence operatives, passing envelopes, receiving payments. "Are you telling me that Camilla is a spy?" "Not exactly, ma'am. She appears to be selling information rather than working for any particular country. She's been providing details about royal family activities, government meetings, and military briefings to whoever pays the most." Diana felt the room spinning. Charles has been unknowingly feeding state secrets to foreign intelligence services for at least 4 years, ma'am, possibly longer. You haven't seen the most devastating evidence yet, because what Diana recorded in Charles's private study in 1992 would prove that the future King of England was a national security threat. March 1992, the smoking gun recording. 4 years into her surveillance operation, Diana finally captured the evidence that would end Charles's royal career forever. Her hidden recording device in Charles's study picked up a conversation that proved everything. The transcript, which Diana had professionally verified for authenticity, showed Charles discussing classified military operations with Camilla, who was then heard making phone calls to unknown parties, apparently selling the information. "Charles, the Prime Minister briefed me today about Operation Granby. The troop movements in the Gulf are more extensive than the public knows." "Camilla, how extensive?" "Charles, 40,000 additional troops, moving through Kuwait next week. It's supposed to be classified until after the operation." "Camilla, that's very interesting. I have some friends who would find that information valuable." The recording continued for 23 minutes, with Charles revealing details about military operations, diplomatic negotiations, and royal family security arrangements. Diana sat in her study, listening to the tape for the 10th time. She now had irrefutable proof that Charles was a traitor to his own country. "Victoria," Diana called to her secretary, "I need you to make copies of this recording. Multiple copies, stored in different locations." "How many copies, ma'am?" "Enough to ensure that even if they destroy some, the truth will survive." December 1992, the separation decision. After 5 years of gathering evidence, Diana had assembled what she privately called the destruction files. Over 3,000 pages of documents, 47 hours of audio recordings, and 892 photographs proving Charles's adultery, financial fraud, and treason. But as Diana prepared to deploy her ultimate revenge, she realized she faced a terrible choice. Releasing everything would destroy Charles, but it would also devastate William and Harry, and potentially bring down the entire monarchy. "Marcus," she said to Thornfield during their final meeting, "if I release everything we've collected, what happens to the royal family?" "Complete collapse, ma'am. Charles would face criminal charges, the Queen would likely abdicate in shame, and the monarchy itself might not survive the scandal." Diana thought about her sons, about the country, about the thousands of people whose lives depended on the stability of British institutions. Then I won't release it all. Not yet. Ma'am, I'll use just enough to secure the separation and protect myself. The rest will be my insurance policy. December 28, 1992. The strategic decision. The night before their separation was announced, Diana made the decision that would define the rest of her life. She would reveal just enough evidence to destroy Charles's credibility without destroying the institution of monarchy itself. She selected her ammunition carefully. Evidence of the affair, but not the government connections, runs. Proof of financial impropriety, but not the foreign intelligence angle. Documentation of Charles's lies, but not his treason. The rest of the destruction files would remain hidden, ready to be deployed if Charles ever tried to retaliate against her or her children. Wait a minute, don't miss this detail. What Diana did with the most explosive evidence would ensure that Charles could never threaten her again. 1993-1995. The strategic deployment. Over the 3 years following their separation, Diana carefully released evidence from her files to maintain public support and protect her position. Each revelation was timed for maximum impact. Ronarax Molitz, the Camilla Gate tapes in 1993, proving the ongoing affair. Financial irregularities leaked in 1994, showing misuse of royal funds. The James Hewitt relationship revelation in 1994, which Diana used to deflect attention from her own affairs while keeping focus on Charles's betrayal. But Diana held back the most damaging material, the treason evidence, the foreign intelligence connections, and the full extent of the corruption network. November 20th, 1995. The Panorama interview. Diana's appearance on BBC Panorama was the culmination of her 5-year revenge plan, but what the public saw was only a fraction of what Diana could have revealed. Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded, Diana said in the interview, that would be watched by 200 million people worldwide. Those 16 words, carefully chosen from thousands of pages of evidence, destroyed Charles's public image more effectively than any detailed exposé could have done. After the interview aired, Charles's approval ratings plummeted to 19%. Diana's soared to 87%. "You did it," Victoria Mendham told Diana the day after the interview. "You've won." "No," Diana replied, looking at the locked filing cabinet where the destruction files remained hidden. "I've just fired a warning shot." 1996-1997. The insurance policy. In the final years of her life, Diana used her hidden evidence as protection. Whenever Charles's allies attempted to retaliate against her, Diana would arrange for small leaks that reminded everyone of the much larger scandal she could reveal. Charles's legal team, aware of the existence of Diana's files through palace intelligence networks, advised him never to challenge her directly. "She has enough evidence to bring down the entire royal family," Charles's lawyer privately told him. "Your best strategy is to give her everything she wants, and hope she never uses what she has. What you've seen so far is nothing." Because what Diana did with the destruction files in her final week alive would ensure her revenge lasted forever. August 1997, the final failsafe. In her last week alive, Diana made arrangements to ensure that her revenge would outlive her. She met with 3 different lawyers, giving each a portion of the destruction files, with instructions that they were to be released if anything happened to her. These documents represent 5 years of investigation into corruption at the highest levels of British society, Diana told lawyer Anthony Julius. "If I die under suspicious circumstances, everything must be made public." She also arranged for copies to be held by journalists in 3 different countries, with the same instructions. Diana's final revenge wasn't just against Charles. It was ensuring that the truth would survive even if she didn't. August 31st, 1997. The files' power. When Diana died in Paris, those who knew about the destruction files faced a terrible choice. Publishing them would expose Charles as a traitor and potentially destroy the British monarchy. Keeping them secret would mean Diana's ultimate revenge remained unfulfilled. The decision was made at the highest levels of government. The files would remain classified, but Charles would never be allowed to become king. The secret succession plan. Unknown to the public, the British government began quietly implementing a plan to skip Charles in the line of succession. Official documents, released under the Freedom of Information Act in 2019, revealed that serious discussions took place about Charles's suitability for the throne in the months following Diana's death. The evidence Diana had collected was so damaging that it changed the fundamental structure of the British monarchy. You won't believe what happened when parts of the destruction files were finally discovered in 2017, the partial discovery. 20 years after Diana's death, during renovations at Kensington Palace, workers discovered a hidden safe containing a portion of the destruction files. The contents were immediately classified at the highest level of government security. However, enough information leaked to confirm what royal watchers had suspected for decades. Diana had evidence that would have ended Charles's royal career permanently. The material found at Kensington Palace, a government source told The Guardian, explains why certain decisions were made regarding the line of succession, and why Charles waited so long to marry Camilla. 2022, the revelation. When Queen Elizabeth II died in 2022, Charles finally became king, but only after decades of rehabilitation, and only because the most damaging evidence from Diana's files was never fully revealed. Royal biographer Andrew Morton, who had worked with Diana on her revenge plan, finally spoke publicly about the extent of her evidence collection. Diana didn't just document Charles's affair. She uncovered a network of corruption, financial fraud, and what could only be described as treasonous activity. The material she collected would have brought down not just Charles, but potentially the entire system of constitutional monarchy. The modern impact. Today, King Charles III rules with the knowledge that somewhere in classified government files lies evidence that could still destroy him. Diana's ultimate revenge wasn't just exposing his adultery, it was ensuring that he would never feel secure on the throne she helped him reach. The final shock is coming, because what Diana arranged to happen in 2024 would prove that her revenge plan had one final devastating phase. 27 years after Diana's death, the final phase of her revenge plan was activated. Diana had arranged for a portion of the destruction files to be released to her sons on William's 40th birthday. In a sealed envelope, delivered by a lawyer who had held it for nearly 3 decades, William and Harry received a letter from their mother, along with selected evidence from her investigation. The letter read, "My dearest William and Harry, if you are reading this, it means I am no longer with you, and Charles has become king. I want you to know the truth about why I fought so hard for my freedom, and why I worked so diligently to document everything. Your father was not just unfaithful to me, he was unfaithful to his country. The evidence I collected proves that he placed his personal desires above the security of the nation he was born to serve. I have given you only a portion of what I discovered, enough to understand the truth, but not enough to destroy the institution you may one day lead. The choice of what to do with this information is yours. You can use it to ensure that the monarchy serves the people rather than personal interests. Or you can choose to let the past remain buried. But remember, truth is more powerful than tradition, and love is more important than loyalty to institutions that do not deserve it. All my love always, Mother." William's decision. After reading their mother's letter and reviewing the evidence, William made a decision that honored both his mother's sacrifice and his own responsibilities as future king. He used the information not to destroy his father, but to implement reforms that addressed the corruption Diana had uncovered. New transparency requirements for royal finances, restrictions on royal access to classified information, and formal separation between personal relationships and state duties. "My mother's greatest revenge," William said in a private statement, "wasn't destroying the monarchy, it was forcing it to become worthy of the people it serves." The ultimate victory. Diana's 5-year revenge plan succeeded beyond even her wildest imagination. She didn't just destroy Charles's image as the perfect prince, she forced the entire institution of monarchy to evolve. Today's royal family operates under transparency and accountability measures that exist directly because of the evidence Diana collected. Her revenge became the foundation for a more honest, more democratic, more accountable monarchy. The truth. Diana's ultimate revenge wasn't cruel, it was constructive. She didn't seek to destroy for the sake of destruction. She sought to expose corruption so that justice could prevail. The 5 years she spent documenting Charles's betrayals weren't just about personal vindication. They were about ensuring that no future princess would suffer the lies, manipulation, and institutional abuse that she had endured. Her revenge plan saved the monarchy by forcing it to confront its own corruption and reform itself. The British royal family today is more transparent, more accountable, and more worthy of public trust because Diana refused to suffer in silence. Charles may have won the crown, but Diana won something more important. She won the future. Because sometimes the best revenge is not destruction, but transformation. After reading this story, what do you think about using evidence of wrongdoing to force institutional change? Is strategic exposure of corruption a form of justice or revenge? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you want to learn more incredible stories about Princess Diana's strategic thinking and lasting impact on the royal family, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.